guys, it's your girl Jay, and I wanted to come here, you guys, and record from my Chromebook with my pink light on, okay, violet light. But I wanted to come here to basically talk to you guys on how did I manifest my apartment. Um, it wasn't easy. It was not easy, and I'm a firm believer that life can be a hell of a lot easy. You can make it how you want it, kind of thing. But there's certain spaces in life where it is, as I told my daughter, it's for character building only. It is not to make it easier for you. It is not because you did something right or wrong. It is literally set in place for character building to get you to the next level. Maybe not. Maybe just because you just needed to know, and that's it. That's all. It may not even have a profound purpose behind it, but it was character building, and that's enough, right? As for me, like I said in my other video, all I needed to do was to learn how to say no instead of saying yes. In other words, me saying yes when I really meant no. And so that was the greatest lesson. And I mean, in everything. And then when I think about it, and I got to go here before I get started, y'all. Think about the many times you said yes to a family member, a child, if for those are parents. You said yes to the job. You said yes. You were willing, right? You were because you didn't want to be the person of who was confrontational. You didn't want to be looked at as difficult. All these things, right? So you kind of just went along to get along, right? And so you said yes to many, many, many things you should have said no to. When I look back over my life, it's my favorite quote. No, my favorite quote is if you don't hear nothing else I'm saying. But no, when I look back over my life, I can honestly say if I had said no, sweetly no, um, to the things and people, places, and things I was invited to or in. And it's not to say these things were bad. They were just not for me, or they were not for me right then. And I instinctively knew it, but I said yes anyway. It cost me. Oh, it's going to cost you one way or the other, right? That's what we talked about in my other video. But let's get on the brighter side of things. So now that I'm on the other side, right? How did I manifest this apartment that I'm sitting in right now? How did I get it? Not even how did I get through it, because obviously you guys know I'm a praying woman. I'm a believer, so I got through with some kind of faith. Because after all you need is a mustard seed of faith. So I had that, but the manifestation part of it, I got through the manifestation part of it because I would get to myself, and I've said this 1,001 times. I would get to myself by myself alone, turn off my phone, and just sit quietly to hear or feel is a better way of saying it, to feel the spirit speak through me and to me. There were times when I'd be in my van, parked in a parking lot, doing people watching people go by, watching birds, watching dogs, people walking their dogs, looking for a sign, looking for God in my case, looking for guardian angels, just looking because I know and I knew what I wanted. And I think this is the part too. As people say in the art of manifestation or laws of attraction, know what you want. And knowing what you don't want, in the words of Abraham Hicks, for those that are familiar, knowing what you don't want should draw you closer to what you do want. Speaking of men, I know that I don't want a lazy man. So that should push me towards at least somebody that has the motivation or inspiration to work. Bare minimum stuff, right? Not saying six figures. I'm talking about even if he worked at McDonald's. Least he got his own moolah. Least he's working towards his own, whatever his dreams or goals, whatever he got going on, right? So I said that to say, when I think about my life, that's another one of my sayings. When I think about my life regarding just manifesting, I just knew what I wanted. And again, I knew what I didn't want. And that pushed me. I also believe why I'm sitting here in this apartment is because I knew I knew that life is to be had and it's to be had more abundantly. I knew that in my spirit. I knew and I know that I have purpose. Don't have to be grandiose. Don't have to be mega. Don't be have to be this big old influencer. I just know that there's something on the inside of me that basically that God wasn't done with me yet, but I wasn't done with me yet. I think that was a place when you don't. I honestly don't. I honestly believe that if you don't believe in visualization, manifestation, laws of attraction, really focus on what you want and visualizing what you want, if you don't believe that there's a principle to that and a way of doing it, then number one, this video is not for you. Number two, you won't get there. You just won't get there. You have to be able to believe, as I said in my TikTok video earlier, you have to be able to believe, not even that you are worth it necessarily. Because sometimes, because people get things all the time who got low self esteem. People get things all the time. Narcissists are sometimes are winning, and they have the biggest insecurities, but they're winning because at the end of the day, it is what you want. That goes back to what I just said earlier. Knowing what you don't want, but will push you towards what you want. So don't worry so much about, oh my God, I don't really know what I want. Well, what do you don't want? What do you don't want? And what I knew that I didn't want is to not feel safe. I knew what I didn't want is to be getting the help by, I'm going to go a little deeper here, getting the help by people who I had to give to get the help and give in a way that I didn't have the capacity to give because I was broken. I was grieving. I knew that then I could do better. That old saying comes up too. I knew I could do all bad by myself. In fact, it was a double up for me because I was like, I actually can do better by myself. I can figure this out. I had enough self-awareness to know that anything that I had gone through in life, the results is that I've lived 48 years through it. Even as an infant, as I was being tossed, if you will, back and forth between my supposedly my mother, my father, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my mother, my father, my grandmother, my great grandmother. I was doing this before I was 8 months old. So it's in my DNA, my blood, whatever it is, it's in my spirit as an individual person to know that I was used to bouncing around. I think that's another reason why I was able to survive homelessness because I was accustomed to, since the day I was born, of being placed here, being placed there, being placed here, and learning in infancy. Look how deep that is, y'all. Learning in infancy how to adjust. Think about that for a minute. Think about everybody that might have held me when I was first born. So I'm going from one person's arm to the next person's arm to the next person's house to another person's house to other cousins to another family member to here to there to here to there. So I learned how to adjust to the temperature of whoever was holding me. You know, little too cold, little too this. I think all of us, if you think about it, generally speaking, every person that obviously was once a baby learn how to adjust to the caregiver. I think that's in child development, child psychology. You learn how to adapt and adjust to your, not just your surroundings, but who is the primary caregiver. So by the time I was 8 months, and let my great grandmother tell it, by the time I was 8 months old, I had already learned maybe an innate way of how to survive through movement, through uncertainty. I learned at a very young age. And it's funny, this is coming to me in the spirit right now because that's a revelation, even as I'm saying this in this video, because I never saw it that deep. So I know it's the download that I'm receiving right now in this minute as I record this video is letting me know. And I had to check the time on the video, 9:07. Nines are powerful numbers, as we know. And I realized I had already, by the time I was 8 months old, been tossed back and forth and learning how to adjust to different energies and spirits and being fought over who's going to raise me, who's going to keep me, who's going to be who's going to come in and do it. So me having an understanding, some type of a spiritual, I would imagine, understanding even in infancy of how to survive through being bounced around, kicked around, going here, going there, right? For those that can relate, you can relate. Anybody else wasn't raised by parents, grandma, auntie, cousin, foster care system, whatever raised you, you learn at an early age how to adjust, or you don't. But you learn. So one way or another, you learn. Not to mention in my teen years, I spent most of my teen years in foster care. All of my teen years. What am I talking about? Most of all of my teen years in foster care. By the time I was 18 years old, I had already been in what 7 different foster homes, including McLaren Hall, for those that are familiar. So I had gone through enough, again, bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. Then I had children, and I settled on into motherhood and things that kind of way, and became, well, had some sense of normalcy, some sense of stability. The place that I was at with my children, I was there for 12 years. Most places I've gone to, I'll stay 4 or 5 years. Once I'm in, I'm in. I'd stay a while. So I say all that to say, one of the ways, again, how I manifested, going back to manifestation, all matters, y'all. Going back to manifestation, I realized that I could handle it. I looked over my life and go, wait a minute, I can do this because I've done it before. This is harder. This is a little bit more challenging. I don't have the resources, that part. I don't have my great grandmother. She's dead and gone. The people that I would normally run to are gone. I'm older now. My body ain't doing what it used to do. I don't have. So I thought, but this was my thinking then. I don't really have the resources. I'm going to have to find a different way, a different strategy because it wasn't about could I go through it? Could I manifest it? Would I have it? It was just the learning, the what is it? What tools do I use now? What is in my arsenal right now? For some of y'all that are listening that is in a particular season, you know what I'm gonna say. The weaponry that you used before to fight that battle, you're gonna have to come out of your arsenal with something else. I love Godzilla, King Kong movies. I love movies of war. As much of a, what you'd call it, like a philanthropist of a person, humanitarian I am about human rights and wanting to see this world in a better, sweet place. I love me a good old shoot 'em up movie. Okay, for real. Hostage takeovers and all that stuff. I love action. My point is that whenever the person, I forget what you call it, you guys, not the antagonist. I think it's the antagonist and you know what I'm talking about. Whenever the good guy has to fight the bad guy, even if it's the good ape versus, remember Caesar and them, and he had to fight Cujo, what was his? Okay, and all of that, different weaponry for different war, for different battle. You cannot use, in many cases, not all though, you can't use the same weaponry. You might have to use something else. And that's what I had to learn. So I knew I could manifest it, but how? Because I can't get back into my old arsenal and pull from what I used to do because I don't have those resources. The pandemic hit. So now what do I have to do? How do I get to a place of quiet and still and meditate to ensure that I'm going to be able to get over and through this? What do I use? And I said this in the last video. I've always been a talker, but there's a season in everything. I think the Bible tells us there's a season for talking, or a season for speaking or being quiet, a season for rain, a season. In fact, I'm glad it's raining right now. I love the rain. I'm so glad. I couldn't wait for it to rain in this apartment, y'all, man. I was like, oh, I can't wait for the rain. I was supposed to be sitting up here watching me a black and white and sipping on some, I don't got no hot cocoa, but some tea, and just chilling out. But I was motivated to say, I manifested this apartment because I use different weaponry. hmm I manifested this apartment because I knew I couldn't. Back in the day, I could talk myself through anything. I could talk myself out of anything because I have the gift of gab. That's so people say. And in this, I realized this thing. I need more than talking, or I need to not talk at all. I need to do less talking. I need to just sit still. I need to be quieter than ever before. I need to just visualize the apartment, visualize me coming in with the keys. When I walked into this apartment, y'all, when I had a housing advocate that fought for me in my housing, it's like having a lawyer. When my housing advocate fought for me, and we finally got the approval on the apartment, and this wasn't my first choice, but she said, keep going, we're gonna keep going. I said, okay, I can do it. I could have just got any old thing just to be, but I said no, because I knew that everything that I wrote down, I knew that everything, I'm trying not to get emotional, y'all, but I knew that everything that I wrote down, I knew every intricate detail that I wrote down. I walked into one apartment, didn't even get a chance to really walk into it. And I walked up to the building and I called my housing worker and I said, she said, so how do you like it? I said, this ain't it. I said, this brings back too much trauma for me. This brings back, I have PTSD. I just told the truth. This ain't it. This is not what I envisioned. My God said, and we touched and agreed that wherever I went, I was going to be safe. There won't going to be no thugs hanging out in front of the apartment building. I could walk down the street safely and not have nobody tomorrow. Hey, baby girl. Hey, queen. For real, for real. If I really want to be, yeah, about that. No, I was picky. That's another reason why I manifested this particular apartment was because I was picky. Because did I think I deserved it? No, I didn't think I deserved it. I mean, hell, I had mother's guilt. I had guilt on me. I felt ashamed in many places and space in my life, to be honest. And it ain't the business that made me feel that way, but some personal stuff. I felt unwanted, unloved. At times, I felt abandoned. Come on, y'all. Throughout my, I never, all the crap I've been through since a child, not even being raised by my mother, I never had abandonment issues until this last 6 years. Because why? Just what I just said. My old stuff didn't work. So I took it like, well, maybe I'm not worth it then. But it wasn't about me not being worth it. I didn't know that then. It was about because what you used before, you can't use now in this season. I said, oh, so what could I use then? I had to be picky. The very thing that people complained about me being, and men even complained about me being, was, oh, you're picky. Oh, you're bougie. Oh, you're high maintenance. Oh, you want too much. You too needy. And when I say needy, I don't mean physical, financial. I meant that I had, as low as my self-esteem had always been, and insecurities that you could imagine, I still had a standard. And me being picky was the standard. I didn't know that then. I just liked what I liked or didn't like what I didn't like. And that created a standard. It's really simple, y'all. Everybody, I believe, has a standard, right? So, fast forwarding, I knew I manifested this particular apartment. I got to put emphasis because I had other choices, but I manifested this particular. And you talking about somebody who's coming? I had other people in organizations telling me, well, you can't be picky. You got to get what comes. This on a first come serve. Do you know how many people would want this or want that or be where you're at? And it was a lot of choices I had, but I stuck to trusting that in my stillness, God says, I'm going to give you the desires of your heart. And more than anything, the desires of my heart was not just to have a roof over my head, it was to be safe. It was to have a working stove. It was to have a full kitchen stove because I kept imagining and I wrote it down of me opening up the stove. Because there's places and programs where they'll get you in a room. For those that need to hear it, they'll get you, they're called SORs, whatever they're called. They'll get you in a room and it's like a hostel and you just have a shared bathroom and you have all that stuff. I'm not knocking it. And I could have done it because I'm a single person. But what I wrote down and what I meditated on, prayed on, but what I meditated on, what I focused on the most was baking cookies for my grandson and dancing naked in my bedroom if I wanted to do that. The truth. I wrote it down. Being able to, I have arthritis. I knew I wanted to be in a place with an elevator. I didn't even write down elevator, but Spirit knew when I said I wanted to be light on my legs. God said, okay. Just like when I got my chair earlier today. God says, I will accommodate you. I will accommodate you. Not because I'm all that, it's because I wanted what I wanted. And I knew I served a God that was a God of abundance, or at least my kind of abundance. Now, to somebody else, it may be like, oh, that's nothing. But man, I wanted a full range stove. So the other day when my grandbaby for the weekend came to visit me, my daughter went out and bought us cookies. And I said, oh, it's on. Oh, it's on. Me baking cookies for my grandson finalized. It finalized. It sealed the deal, baby. It sealed it for me. Because I was like, oh, we in here now. Smell them cookies. We're in here now. He put the little M&Ms on top. He's 6 years old. You know, me getting this apartment too was his birthday gift to my grandson. He turned 6 years old, um, February the 22nd, and I moved into my place the day before, which was the 21st or the 20th, one of those. I moved in, or was it the 19th, right, of February. And when I went to the party, I told my daughter I didn't even feel like going to my grandson's party. I said, I don't even feel up to it. I'll be there, but I don't know. I don't, Because I kept waiting and waiting and nothing seemed to have to come to pass, y'all. And I was losing hope at the very, very end of the line. I was losing hope, right? But then all of a sudden, ha ha, right? A miracle happened. Something sweet happened. I got the call from my housing advocate, and she said, and I remember telling her because I was at the house with the man that I had been staying with for at least the last 2 weeks, and I remember telling a little bit longer than that, but couch surfing, and I remember telling her because he was there. And I remember getting on the phone when she called me because I had been waiting for the call. I would wake up every morning, y'all, looking at my phone, waiting for that call to come through. I would get up every morning. I got to the point I didn't want to hear nothing from nobody else. I even told that man, I told everybody that I talked to, I told my daughter, nothing will satisfy me more. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear shit from nobody else except my housing worker telling me to sign this lease. I didn't even want to hear her because she was so supportive. And one time she sent me over like a holiday because obviously I hadn't had my house around the holidays. She sent me over a Christmas thing where the homeless can get together and this and then that. And I remember seeing it, and I told her in the text, "I thank you so much, but I'm not interested. I mean no disrespect. Nothing will satisfy me, and I will not rest until I'm baking cookies in my apartment for my grandson." I got crazy about it. People want to call and mental illness running my family, and I got my diagnosis. I had to tell my therapist, yeah. Well, how are you feeling today? Like baking cookies. That's what I feel like doing today. I didn't care how crazy I sounded. I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a damn. Well, you're gonna get there, Janae. You're gonna get there. So, every time she called me, how are you doing today? I still feel like baking cookies in an oven in a full range stove. We would laugh because I like to think I'm have a little bit of sense of humor, but I was croaking serious. I was serious about that statement because the universe. Oh, is she playing? Sometimes the universe is she playing. We don't know if she for real or playing. Let's just give her more of it. She said baking cookies. That's all. I don't know if that's what my guardian's honed into. She said baking cookies. And I got them way more than just a stove, obviously. Right? Way more. I turn on this central air up here. My electricity, the only thing I'm going to come back, you guys, and talk about it because I know this video is getting long. But the bills, right? I got bills again, y'all. Oh my God. But I also have um, I'm a connected where I have a caseworker person who helps me manage. So I'm a part of a program that help people who are homeless that come into the program that help them with budgeting. In fact, I was supposed to see her today, and I had to text her and let her know because I was on my girly and I was cramping and I had a headache. I didn't feel too up to it, doing the numbers. You guys know I have a learning disability with numbers, so I was like, no, I can't. So I rescheduled her. Hopefully, I'll speak with her tomorrow, or see her tomorrow. So God gave me everything I not just again needed, not just want needed, but wanted, right? The support system, the support services. So again, the question is, how did the in-depth way that I manifested my apartment? And it's deeper than cookies, obviously, y'all. But that's how I kept it playful. That's another thing. You got to play with this stuff. You got to keep it playful. As much as you want what you want, you got to be lighthearted about it. It's a challenge, especially if you don't have that. See, I have a natural. I was born into a situation that I felt like this. I must have felt this in my young spirit. I'm gonna have to laugh about some of this stuff because it'll take me out if I don't. So I learned at an early age to kind of laugh at myself, to make light of a situation, to just kind of maybe be nonchalant or detached from it. And in some ways it hindered me, and in some ways it helped me to be resilient, to be not detached. As they say in laws of attraction, you cannot be detached, you can't be attached to the outcome. And so I had to, in the last 6 months, I had to back up. And I remember telling myself this, and this is going to sound strange. Before I got to just being about the cookies, I remember saying this, you know what? And I'm going to tell you the truth, y'all. I remember saying, fuck that apartment. I remember saying it. I remember literally saying out loud, because I was trying to practice so much, you know, of acting as though I didn't give a damn, because I felt like I was tired of being disappointed. I was tired of not getting the call. Oh, and that's the point I was making earlier. When my housing advocate called me, the guy was still in the house, and usually I would be on the phone and I would go outside or go in the bathroom to talk because I didn't want him or anybody else in my business. Y'all know how that can be sometimes. So of course, being under this particular man's roof, I remember when she called me, she was like, Miss Janae, and I said, yeah, because I was ready for just the old okie doke, how you doing, just checking in, making sure that you're doing okay, considering, and there was one of them melancholy, dang near depressed days that I was like, here goes another. I was like, I really don't want to talk. I said I can't really talk right now. I'm not in a private area to talk, is what I said to her. And she said, oh, she said, okay, so you're not ready to sign this lease and get these keys, is what you're saying, and you want me to call you back? And oh my God, and God will send you the right people, because if it wasn't for her personality too to match my energy. When I was down, she would get there with me. I feel you, girl. She didn't try to override it or underwrite it and and patronize me. She would go, yeah, I've been there, da 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 da. And then when there was moments where I felt like I was giving up, she'd be like, okay, if that's what you want to do, but come sign this lease, you know? Because what I'm really saying, you guys, is that I put in the work. I put in the weaponry for the particular fight I assumed I was fighting. But remember, as believers, the battle's not even ours. The waiting, it's not that I had to wait, it's where I was waiting. Because some of you guys who may be waiting for something, it may not be that serious. If you're waiting in a place where you can have fun and you keep chilling and you kicking it, you can get real comfortable too while you wait. And get, this is where I think a lot of people give up on their dreams, because they're like, it may not ever come, and I'm good for right now, and I'm gonna go ahead. But because I was in such a toxic and psychologically damaging situation, I literally, it was a matter of, and I've said this before, and it sounds extreme, but it was exactly that. Especially for somebody not to be putting their hands on me, it was still a matter of life and death. Because at the end of the day, what is life? Life is to be lived, and lived more abundantly. And however it is that you want to do that. And I knew I wasn't living my life. I knew I wasn't living my life. Mine. What does my life entail? Obviously, baking cookies for my grandbaby, crocheting, having my yarn out. Like earlier today, I took all the clothes out of the laundry, basket, because I was going to do laundry. I took all the clothes out of there, and they were all over the floor. And I was like, in my mind, because of PTSD, right? I was like, oh, let me hurry up and put these back in the basket. And something in my spirit say, I literally walked over my clothes, stepped over them, and was like, I'll pick it up in a minute. I didn't have to feel, let me get this up, because if I don't hurry up and get it up now, somebody gonna have something to say, or you know, I know what some of y'all may be thinking. Well, I mean, you do want to be clean. You get my point. I didn't have to be threatened to pick them up. I didn't have to feel like I was walking on eggshells. You get what I'm saying? I walked over my own clothes and my own laundry basket and went into the bathroom, used the bathroom. And if I really want to be frank about it, because I'm on my period, I got to go here with it, y'all. Change my girly pad. You okay? Sat on the toilet, was scrolling up and down the phone. You know how we do. And walked, and then washed my hands, looked in the mirror, did a little bit of tossing in my hand, clothes still on the floor. You get where I'm going with this. Ain't no big thing. They gonna get picked up. They ain't gotta be picked up right now. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I'm my own boss, and I move when I want to move, and that was how I manifested this place. because I knew, I knew, I got to say it how I feel about it, y'all. Forgive me. I knew I was too damn good for the shit I was going through. I say nothing about deserving it. I say nothing about being nice. I didn't say that I wasn't full of sin. I didn't say I'm not a perverted or naughty woman. I just knew I was too damn good of a human being to go through pain the way I was going through it. I said, I'm too good. I'm too good, damn it. I'm too kind. Let's go there. I've been too kind. I've been too sweet. I've been too nice. I've been too generous. I've been a prayer warrior for others. I prayed with people. I fed people. And I know a lot of people got that story, but I am telling you the Jesus Christ truth. I was too good to go through that type of pain for too much longer. So it's a combination of faith, believing in myself, meditating, writing it out, the action, and just knowing with everything in me, I'm too damn good. I don't know what I'm great for. And I don't know what I deserve just yet or what type of man. But what I do know, I don't deserve this though. The crime didn't fit the punishment. And since the crime don't fit the punishment, I gotta make some moves. And I can't use the old weapons. Okay, I can't use the old weapons. The crime don't fit the punishment. I ain't did nothing this bad to go through this kind of hell and high water and turmoil. Even if I'm doing it to myself, Lord, deliver me. This don't make no dang on sense. It got so bad I thought somebody was doing spell work on me. I went into one of my spiritual shops with one of my guys, and oh God, I can't wait to go see him. Oh my gosh! But anyway, I couldn't. And I don't. Maybe I believe anybody. I know that man wanted the best for me. Every time I walked in this shop, he said he's Hispanic. He'd say, "KS, what's wrong, mija?" He said, "You're carrying a lot of weight of other people. You're carrying so much weight of other people's pain." He said, "I need you to let it go because you won't survive." I remember him telling me this was last year. He was afraid for me. I don't come here and talk about a lot of my spiritual stuff like I used to, but this particular man, he was afraid for my spiritual and mental sanity. I would imagine there's a thing called spiritual sanity, okay? But he was concerned. And I remember one time he reached out his arms, which was strange, to hug me, and I broke. The tears just fell, and he embraced me. And this is a gay man, all day long. I'm just saying, and he just gave me so much love. He gave me one of them church hugs, like a genuine church hug, because I hadn't been in church in years. But God will meet you right where you're at, and He will send angels. He will send people on when you are on the verge of giving up, or you just. I went into that man's shop. Remember, I'll close with this, y'all. Remember the movie The Craft? Remember the witch that was a natural witch, right? The main character. Remember when she ran into the shop and said, "I don't know." That was me. When she was like, "I don't know what Nancy's trying to do. What they're trying to do. They're trying to turn it on me." That was me running to him, and I said, "I don't," because I couldn't go to the church. Church is funny about certain things. They really don't hear or listen, in my experience, to the depths of what's going on with you because they got a whole congregation to deal with. But this man happened to be in there with his little puppy and his dog and cleaning up the floor. I said to him, I said, do you have a moment? He said, "Always for you." He said, "Always for you, Mija. What's going on?" And I told him XYZ, and he said, "Okay." And there was moments where I went into that shop, to be honest, and I wanted to grab some voodoo dolls and some black. I will tell anybody, hell yes, I wanted to. I wanted to poke a pin to see who the hell is literally who the hell in hell, above hell, around hell, hanging out in hell, kicking it by the hell's gate. Who in the hell is effing with me? Because I don't deserve. It wasn't about deserve. I'm too good. What? You're right. And call it cockiness, y'all. Call it arrogance. Narcissists do it all the time. If a narcissist can get away with it, I'm just saying. I had to feel a little narcissistic in some of this stuff. I had to feel a little bit like No, 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 no. Mm-mm. I had to. That's what propelled me. And when you think about manifestations, it was already done. God had already had this assigned for me. It was already done. But I honestly believe that God wanted me to practice standards. He wanted me to practice saying no, even in the most desperate situation of my life, even in being homelessness. God said to me, must have said in my spirit, I still want you to say no. That ain't for me. God says, if you couldn't do it with men, obviously, at least be picky about where you're going to rest your head. So, how did I manifest it? I manifested it. Say it with me, y'all. Because you wanted to bake cookies for that was the visual. That's the visualization that helped me. Because I opened up the stove. I saw myself opening up the stove. I smelt the cookies. And I'm not even a big cookie person. I just knew that's something I wanted to give him. And I wanted to give it to him because I did it for my children. And I love being a mom. That's the greatest accomplishment I've had in my life. I know at 48, that's it. Pretty much that's the greatest, most honorable job any woman can have. I don't give a damn how much money a woman is making, but being an attentive and loving mom, best as I could, with the little bit of awareness I've had of love or parenting or mother or guidance, wasn't A plus all the time. I think I got a passing grade. I think I had a C minus at least. I don't think I failed. I may not have had an A, may not have had a B, but I think I did okay. And so baking cookies, I wanted a place for my children to see. My daughter's inspired. My son is coming to visit me tonight. My baby son, He says, I want to cook for you, Mom. On my stove, in my kitchen. I he got his own place. He got his own thing going on. He ain't moving in here. He ain't trying to take over. Ain't nobody trying to come here and take over. They now too have a space to honor me. These are the things that I envisioned. These are the things that I wrote down. And I didn't write them down just once, y'all. I kept writing. My hands would hurt. I wrote so much. I got stacks of different journals of the same written over and over. I became, like I had OCD. I became addicted to writing it down. I became addicted to visualizing it. And when I couldn't visualize anymore, because I was getting interrupted, because I couldn't find quiet time, because I couldn't rest, when I began to get interrupted, I had to trust that God said, well, because you don't need to envision it no more. Your keys are coming tomorrow. Your keys are coming this week. And I said, God, how many weeks have I said that this was happening? How many weeks have I believed you, God? How many times have I believed you? And it didn't work out. And I still was waiting. How many times? What's going to be different? But how I knew it was coming is when I could not write no more. When I literally was like, I can't write no more, God. I did what Habakkuk 1 and 3 or whatever it says do. I cannot visual God. I'm creative. It's all I'll get out. I can't imagine it much more. I can't talk to myself about it anymore. I can't talk to strangers about it anymore. I can't come here and keep encouraging people over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and living a hypocritical life, tell them about men and then going through pain with one. I thought I could, but no, God, I want to be the real deal Holyfield. I don't want to just talk about it and it be true, but I want to be about it, walk in it, and it be even more true. I want a fiery truth in me. I want an evident truth in me. I want the going in and the coming out, the going and the back and forth truth to be. I want truth. I want to represent what it is. to live an abundant life with a little bit I got, that some might say. I want to be the example or the inspiration. If I'm nothing else, I want to be that for somebody, my children, my grandson, because when the odds were against me, in my own kind of ways, everybody's odds are different. But when the odds were against me, I said, I'm too good to go through this bad shit any longer. I'm too good. I have too much greatness or too much good, like Les Brown. For those that are familiar, you got greatness in you. I listened the first years of homelessness. I listened to all the motivational speakers. I spent 2 years with motivational speakers. Got tired of them. And then I started writing it down. Then I started being about it. Then I tried to go to the gym and I tried to do things to motivate me. I was in the van and I was trying to make it pretty and I did okay and da 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 da. And then it got to a point, y'all, where I just said, I'm doing this shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and ain't nothing moving. So God took my van, or so life, it took my van, and let that be that. In fact, I won't pick up that right now, but there was someone calling me, but I've been through the fire, right? But I'm still here and I'm on the other side. And I couldn't be more just grateful that I, even though I had a housing advocate, I want you guys to hear this if you don't hear nothing else I'm saying. Nobody else can advocate for you like you can advocate for you. Nobody. Nobody. No. Who's gonna know what you know more about you when you practice enough self-awareness? I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted. I may not always know what I wanted in bed. I may not always know what I want to eat. I may be decisive on a whole lot of. But what I did know is that I wanted to do what? Bake cookies for my grandbaby. Let's go deeper. Not deeper, but let's get on the more. That's the granny side of me. That's the mama and granny side of me. That's honorable and that's precious. But can I go over here with the naughty stuff for those that tune into me because that I'm a woman still in the business. I wanted to go and do what I'm doing because what did I say in the other video? So just in case I wanted to bust it wide open, I could. That's not even been my style, but I wanted that freedom. I wanted to be able to log in to work whenever I freaking felt like it, which I did, you know. I wanted to see my fullest potential before I get out of this business. I want to see what it would be like for Janae to do it just for Janae. Not because I'm a mother and my children need extra, this thing, because I've been in the business since they were younger, right? Since they were minors. I would work the job and utilize it to buy, stuff on this, their school supplies, going back to school, outfits, clothes, housing, whatever, help out with the other bills. You guys get me? But now that I'm in this business by myself with no responsibilities except for self, now I have a different motivation. Before it was a necessity. It was playful necessity and I still like what I do, but now I can do it for the sake of now the monies that I make is to buy me heels. I'll come back and talk about it. What's the difference now? We're going to talk about it for my cam girls or camming folks that want to tune into that part of who I am. And I'll talk about what's the difference, between me being a cam model, and, you know, um, basically being homeless versus being a cam model that's housed. Or being a cam model who there was a full-time woman in the industry who was a full-time mother, versus all the children, empty nester. You see what I'm saying? I'm going with that because there is a difference. In short, I now have more time. I have more moolah that I can spend on me. And if I do give it to my children, it's because I'm just being generous as a mom. But it's not a necessity, right? Things like that. And of course, the obvious reason, again, from me coming out of homeless into being housed and not just being in a hotel, is that I got time. I have 444. I got time to log in. Like right now, I'm sitting here talking to you guys. 44 minutes of doing this. When have well, I was gonna say when have you known me to do a 44-minute video? No, I have made through my homeless. I made time to talk. I made time to make some videos, didn't I? Anyway, y'all, let me go ahead and get out of here. One love kisses. You guys will hear me sing the next one, but I'm grateful. So how I manifested it, because I wanted it, and I would not settle for nothing else. I wanted this type of apartment. I didn't want to settle for nothing else. Nothing else would do. If I could only take that attitude and apply it to my personal life when it comes to dealing with men in the future, I would not settle for nothing else less. And in fact, I'll come back and give you guys a story time. It probably won't be this long, but on this particular ex of mine who he's still lingering. Mm-hmm. Like, what, Jillian? I thought we talked about that on Valentine's Day. I know. I've prayed on it. I'll come back and talk about prayer and meditation, and not just to pray, but to wait for God's answer. I saw a guy on was it Instagram or TikTok, just talking about how we can pray for things, but then we won't wait to get the answer. But you got to wait and sit still to get the answer. And again, the same approach that I took with my housing. Hopefully, it don't take that long. But I got to be able to wait and wait it out. But what I don't want to do is settle. I want the same attitude, because that's what I used to teach my children. Ironically enough, I used to teach them attitude is aptitude. It's your attitude that will create the aptitude, how high you go, what your standard is going to be. So I hope that the attitude I had about getting this place and being as silly or whatever it was that I was being to add cookies to the mix. I added the most important things to the mix. I added baking cookies for my grandbaby, having a place for my children to come visit me, right? Where they can visit me freely at any time they want to. And a place that would accommodate me. In other words, if my apartment complex is going to spoil me, accommodate is a better word, right? Accommodate me. I'm going to need a man in my life that's going to accommodate me in the same measure that my apartment has. Think about that, y'all. Think about where you at. For some of y'all probably living in luxury apartments and dealing with trash ass guys in their mindset. You driving around in nice cars, but dealing with people below frequency. Aspirations, and you're motivated to do great and good things, but the people you choose to hang around with are the men you involved with. You get what I'm saying? Low grade. I want the attitude that I had about this apartment and getting what I want, and I got what I want. And I know some of y'all might be thinking, well, there's a difference between things and people. Same attitude. Same attitude. Because God uses vessels. He knows what our desires are. I don't want to even be too deep about that. All I gotta have the attitude is that I want what I want. I don't have to believe I deserve it. And some man comes to me and say, well, what makes you think that you deserve? To be honest with you, I don't know if I do or I don't. What makes you think you deserve me? So we all don't know exactly how very deserving are you. But what I do know is what I don't want. That's enough. That'll push me again towards what we do want. And I want to be accommodated. I want to be accommodated. Do I think I'm all that? Heck no. I just want what I want. I want to be accommodated. What's wrong with being accommodated? Like, I'm getting used to. When you get used to it, you're used to it. I want to be used to being accommodated. Like my light right here, I'm probably talking about here, guys. I just found out my light has a dimmer on it. And as much as I get headaches and migraines because of bright lights, and I got my light on right now, but that's why it's the color that it is, because I was like, okay, and turned off the rest. But the bright lights And then my daughter showed me, I came out of the bathroom, my daughter was like, I was like, oh my God, what happened to the lights? I thought they were going out or they went out, right? I thought it was an electrical thing. And she's like, no, Mom, you have a dimmer on your light switch. I said, I what? I got a what? I got a dimmer. You know what I'm saying? I was like, demure, I'm trying to say it right, y'all. Demure, no. Wait. I'm gonna get it out. A demure, dimmer. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, yes. Yes, a it's a tongue twister, right? And that's what I want in a man. I want something that's going to accommodate me. Oh, baby girl, you got headaches? I bought you 2 or 3 shades. You can wear the shades on the date if you want to. You know, oh, baby girl, that's too bright for you. And I'm hopefully ain't calling me baby girl. So let's not manifest that. Don't call me queen. Don't call me baby girl. Darling. Remember, I always use the word darling. Darling, is the lights too bright for you? You know, no, they're a little. They're a little too bright. Would you like to go somewhere else? Yeah, I might. We don't gotta do because knowing me, more than likely, I don't want to inconvenience nobody. I'm not a bitch. I just want to be accommodated. I don't want to be. Oh my God, I can't be here. The lights are too bright. Like, yeah, why would you take me here? Like, who does that? You already know I get migraines. It's not that. It's more like I'll manage. I'm okay. I'll just put on my shades, and I want the man to be the type of man that says, no, we can go somewhere else. Where'd you like to go? I know a nice little dim lit place. And if he was a listening man, he would have known and heard that in the beginning. When in the conversations we had, to be like, okay, I took you to this nice little quaint little cafe restaurant because it's dim lit, not because it's romantic, but I remember you get migraines, and I'd be, oh my gosh, and I'll just call him, you're so demure for dimming the lights. You working like my living room. But anyways, I'm out of here, you guys. One love kiss. You guys will hear me and see me in the next one. I did it. And I did it from my tablet. Yay! Anyway, bye for now. Kisses. Everybody have a beautiful Wednesday night.